Welcome to Lemoore City Council Chambers located at 429 C Street. This is the June 18th, 5:30 meeting. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy to those in attendance. Thank you. If you could please stand for the invocation given by Joe Kootenai and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Living God, we thank you for the opportunities you give us, Father, to come before you, Father. And for tonight, we ask specifically for the leadership of Lemoore to give them discernment, to give them the wisdom that only you can give, Father. We thank you for this leadership right now as they move forward, Father, making many important decisions for this city. And again, we raise your name on high because you're a good God who loves us. And we thank you. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name, amen. Pledge, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Garza,
Present.
Councilmember Lyons,
Here.
Councilmember Orth, Mayor Pro Tem Gornick, Mayor Matthews.
Here. Agenda approval, additions and or deletions. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to study session. Item 1-1, refuse organic recycling update. Mr. Reader.
Good evening, Council and Mayor Matthews. We just wanted to give from Public Works a quick update. So with refuse, we've ordered a couple of new trucks as you guys have approved, some new staff coming on. We are looking in July 1 to move to a new software. This new software is going to help us with routes, truck management, organic tracking, client or resident tracking. It's going to help us a lot with SB 1383. A lot of the municipalities are moving to it. It's called Routeware. Hanford's gone to it. I believe Visalia has. And then scheduled by the end of the year, we will be going to a 3-can pickup.
When did you say that was?
By the end of the year. So we just wanted to give that quick update on the study session. And then just open it up if council had any questions regarding refuse or anything that we have going on.
Any questions from council? I did see that there was an issue with some people getting their trash picked up this last week. Were they able to get that taken care of? It's not a question for you, is that?
Yeah, so I mean, was there something specific? Because I mean, there's people every day that have that.
I guess it was like a whole street that they
get picked up. Yes, got
Perfect.
picked up. Yep.
Thank you.
Our department's pretty good on anything that doesn't get picked up, whether it's an individual or a street. By the next day at like 10 a.m. they'll pick it up.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the public regarding refuse? Yeah.
Sorry, the camera can't hear you.
That's fine. Todd Polishan, American Legion, 411 West D Street here on the trash pickup. You said 3 cans. Would that be recyclable, green waste, and also the brown waste?
Yeah, so that'll be the 3-can weekly pickup for all 3 cans, brown or black, green, and blue. Yep.
Any other questions or comments from the public?
Won't be the charge for that, right? Same charge, right?
For the meantime, there will be the same charge, but it will not stay. So the question from Mr. Brown, right, is will it be the same charge? As of now, it will be. But as we move forward into getting fully staffed and the trucks available, we don't have the asset plan to maintain this current to go to a 3-can pickup. So there will be a rate study or a rate change done to correct. Anytime rates change for any enterprise fund, there'll be a Prop 218. And so for us to be able to replace those assets, for example, we will most likely the end result go from 4 trucks on a day to 6 trucks on a day on just the residential side. And if we start going to that many trucks and they start going down, we won't have the replacements to continue that. So we'll have to start replacing those trucks, making sure we have adequate backups to run 6 trucks on a weekly basis.
Mr. Brown, I
So
hate to do this too, but could you please come to the microphone?
So the reason behind the 3-can pickup is SB 1383. It's an organic recycling. So they're requiring the green can to be picked up on a weekly basis based on that. Internally, and I've spoken with refuse as well, it doesn't quite make sense for us to move to the green can and the black can getting picked up weekly with the blue being every other. It gets confusing for residents, it'd get confusing for us, so it's easier to just throw the extra truck out there and pick them all up. But SB 1383 is the reason for this.
When was the last time we had a rate increase on refuse?
So we just hit the 5-year mark, so it would have been 5 years ago. And then the rate evaluation that we would use to increase rates would pretty much be the exact same thing. So we wouldn't hire somebody to do a rate study at this point, saving us money. The methodology is the same. Public Works can handle that in-house. I won't give estimates at this time, but it just depends on how many trucks we're going to.
And during the last rate study, it was brought up to do a 3-can pickup, and that was going to be more of a charge. And at the time, the residents that spoke up were not in favor of paying more for that.
Correct. The entire reason we've never gone to 3-can pickup is because I think 60+% said that they are fine with current status and current rates, and they do not prefer to go to a 3-can pickup.
But now with SB 1383, we're looking at a different scenario.
Correct. We have to go to it, so we might as well, fully run with it. There will be some growing pains with this, just like with anything. We'll have to do some utilization when we go to 3-can pickup for everybody who has 2 blues or 2 greens. About getting those back or creating the charges for those, because now there will be charges for the second can, as it's not a necessity as it was before.
Gotcha.
And the 2 trucks that we bought, one that we've got, right? We've received the new one?
Yeah, one was a side loader, one was I believe a front loader, but one's residential, one's commercial.
Okay. And the one that we received is the side loader, yes?
Correct.
Who gets to drive that?
C. Garcia. But we will be looking, as we move forward, we're going to be looking at doing some more side loaders. Just kind of got to grab them as we can. It's hard to grab trucks as it is, and both sides are needing them.
Any other questions from council? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and move on to public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. The public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and the mayor opens the item to the public. Is there any public comment? Okay. You guys are taking it easy on us, I guess. Ceremonial presentations. We have item 2-1, Westlands Water District Scholarship recipients. Mr. Mendez, would you like to speak on that?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Mendez. I'm the Public Affairs Representative for Westlands Water District. Just joined them about 2.5 months ago, so very, very fresh. My background, I came from State Center Community College District, so I worked at Fresno City College, Clovis Community College, and helped out with Reedley. So today's presentation is right up my alley, working in education in the last 10 years, and this was one of my first assignments, and just wanted to say thank you very much to the council for your time to recognize one of the outstanding students in the community here in Lemoore. And it was a really tight competition. We got over 40 applicants, and we tried to, in our district, which runs from Firebaugh, Mendota, all the way down to just north of Kettleman City, all the high schools that are in there, we try to do at least one scholarship per high school that's in our district. But the competition was excellent, and actually Lemoore got 2 students down there that they just stood out above the rest. A couple of high schools didn't apply, so we had a few, but Lemoore took 2, which was awesome for this community. So unfortunately, one of them couldn't be here today, but Daisy Albaran is here today, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about her. I got to attend the Lemoore High School Scholarship Night, so I got to hear all of her accolades, but you guys haven't heard that yet, so I'd like to just speak a little bit about her. She'll be attending West Hills Community College in Lemoore for her associate's degree. She consistently achieved a 4.0, and I'll add that her GPA upon graduating was a 4.57. And she consistently achieved a 4.0 above throughout high school. In your academic success and demonstrated leadership as ASB secretary, doing mentoring and organizing activities. She's an exceptional leader as a she was varsity cross country, say that 5 times fast, varsity cross country captain for 4 years, maintaining that 4.0 and managing the team effectively. So it's with great honor that I've got a couple of certificates here from the County of Fresno. Vice Chairman Buddy Mendez would like to, has a recognition for you. So go ahead and come up, Daisy. Told you we'd save the cool ones for city council. So behalf of County Board of Supervisors, there is one. I have one here from U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, who's honoring you with the certificate of recognition for winning the Westland Scholarship. So there is that one. See, LaFodenza Butler, United States Senator, would also like to honor you with a little letter congratulating you as well. One more. And then a certificate from the California Legislative Assembly recognizing Daisy Albrana as a recipient of the Westlands Water District Scholarship from Devin Mathis. So it's that one. And if it'd be too kind of, could we get kind of a group shot with council and the parents as well too?
We
Yeah, of
also
course.
have something to add to your collection.
Oh, one more. I just want to add, it was an absolute honor reading your essay as well too. It's like, those are tough, but that was a rough day at the office. You're like, oh man, okay, this is good. That is good.
You don't want the police in this picture too? Yeah.
Just a, I mean, we're here to recognize Daisy, but if we can, just a round of applause for her mom and dad too, for raising such a.
Got to go for the grant.
Thank you.
Oh, we don't get to hear from Daisy? Oh,
Right? Speech.
all right. I guess we'll let her off the hook. Huh? Sure would have been nice to hear something from Daisy.
Oh, the pressure.
Oh, right on, Daisy.
Hello, my name is Daisy Albron, and I'm so happy and grateful to God that I'm able to be here today to be presented this award and scholarship, and to be standing right here in front of the Council of Lemoore. I'm very grateful to my parents, Maria and Melchor Albron, for raising me to be the responsible and an amazing leader I am today. And it's been an amazing 4 years at Lemoore, and I'm so excited to continue my journey in college and many more in Fresno State too. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all your accomplishments so far, and I'm sure it's going to pale in comparison to your accomplishments in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Item 2-2, American Legion Post 100 donation to Lemoore Parks and Recreation Bleacher Project. Mr. Brown, if you could please come to the microphone. Just kidding.
Yeah, this time.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, my staff. I guess I've got to get my.
Yeah, you got Jay's uniform again. Yeah, he never fails. Yeah. Can't take him any place.
So my staff. So As you heard, the American Legion and several other nonprofit organizations have been rallying together, trying to come up with a cause and common cause to raise some money for this bleacher project and some other projects that the city might have. And we had to really dig deep into the American Legion, 4 pillars of the American Legion, to find out where would be best for our portion to be donated, and more so than the children and youth forum of it was the best. And first off, I'd like to congratulate Daisy. I mean, that's a great accomplishment. And being in the children and youth program, that's something that we do at the American Legion too, for both girls and boys state. So congratulations again. We're just here tonight to kind of just donate what the American Legion has to offer for this bleacher project for the Parks and Recreation. So we have a check here from all the members of the American Legion Post 100 Lemoore for $1,500 to use towards the purchase of the bleachers only. And I would like to present that to the clerk if it's possible.
Sure. Would you guys like a picture?
Sure, absolutely.
Come on, Daisy, get in this picture too.
Yeah.
One, two.
You got me. Oh, man, my hat was on back.
Have a good night.
Did have someone online ask what the other recipient of that scholarships.
The name? For the record, the name of the other scholarship recipient was Jason McDonald from Lemoore High. Okay, moving on to item 3, department and city manager reports. Chief.
First up, Frank Rivera.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just a couple updates. Last Thursday, we closed on a couple of bid openings. One was the 2024 road rehab project. A&M got back to us this afternoon. We do have one successful bidder. So the next meeting we'll be bringing the notice to proceed. And the second one was the PFMD sidewalk improvements. We only had one bidder on that, and the engineer felt that the numbers were a little too high, so we're going to have to go out and rebid that project. So that's all I have for you.
And then out of the police department, the only thing that I have to add is since we won't have a meeting before the 4th of July, we will be partnering with the fire department. We'll be going out and doing proactive patrol to address the fireworks situation that we all know is going to take place. As a reminder, the city ordinance allows for the homeowner to be issued a citation if it originates from that house. We don't have to determine who lit it off. The homeowner will be issued the citation. But we'll be doing that up until the 4th of July. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
How much is that citation, chief? Just ballpark. I don't know if you know.
Depends. If we see them light it off and we can pinpoint exactly who it is, we'll issue them the misdemeanor citation under the health and safety code. And then that's between them and the Kings County Courthouse, up to $1,000, not counting court fees.
All right, moving on to consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. Item 4-1. Approval minutes, regular meeting, June 4th, 2024. 4-2, approval of second reading and adoption of ordinance 2024-04 for formation of Community Facilities District Number 2024-1. 4-3, approval of second reading and adoption of ordinance 2024-03, amending chapter 7, title 10 of the Lemoore Municipal Code pertaining to city maintenance district. 4-4, approval of resolution 2024-19 LLMD, resolution 2024-20 PFMD, intention of public hearing for LLMD/PFMD. 4-5, approval denial of claim for Mr. Smith. 4-6, approval memorandum of understanding side letters with Police Officers Association and Police Sergeants Unit and Lemoore Police Professional Services Bargaining Unit. I'm going to go ahead and pull 4-5 and table that to the next scheduled meeting. Is there anything that anyone else would like to pull? Is there anything that the public would like to pull from the consent calendar?
I would just like, Mayor, if you can clarify the next regular scheduled meeting.
Yes. Did I not say that part?
No.
I apologize. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar, except for 4-5, which is tabled to the next regularly scheduled meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept 4-1 through 6, except for 5.
Have a
Until
motion
the
by
next regular scheduled.
regularly scheduled meeting.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Lyons and a second by Garza. Councilmember Lyons?
Yes.
Councilmember Garza?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 3 in favor. Then moving on to the public hearing. Item 5-1, public hearing approval of resolution 2024-21, adopting the budget for fiscal year July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, providing the appropriation and expenditure of all sums set forth in said budget, providing for all of the transfers and additional appropriations, and repealing all resolutions and parts of resolutions in conflict herewith. Ms. Champion.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight I do have a shortened revised presentation for you for the public hearing and for the budget presentation. It is very much similar to the one that you already saw, except for in a lot more of a condensed version. So with that, we will get right into it. For the member of the public, where to find this? If you go to the city website and you go to the agendas, you can find both the presentation and the actual budget book. They are linked off to the side where the handouts are usually found. Tonight, we won't go into detail in the book, but the book just has things broken down by category. Tonight's going to be more big picture and looking at whole numbers. So the city has about 71 funds. So the total, these numbers have not changed from when Mr. Northcraft presented them last meeting. So these are as presented in the actual book document that you'll find online. So throughout these 71 funds, the beginning balances are about 78 million, with proposed revenues of 45 million and expenditures of 62, which would leave the overall fund balances collectively at 62. That difference comes primarily from the use of those funds in capital improvement projects. So going into the funds specifically, talking about position allocation. For the position allocations for fiscal year 25, it's being proposed for a total of 118 positions, which is a net increase of 5 overall. We did reduce 2 positions in facilities maintenance, 1 in recreation, 1 maintenance worker in recreation, 1 coordinator in recreation, and 1 police captain in PD. We increased the position allocation by 10 positions. 1 police officer to be offset by a contract with the school to fund them as a YDO officer, youth development officer. 2 senior dispatchers and 5 dispatchers 1-2 that would support the opening of the dispatch building. Also to be offset by the grant monies and cost allocation for those positions. And then 1 office assistant in recreation to offset the loss of the recreation coordinator. And then 1 maintenance worker in refuse to help with additional routes and things that Brandon was talking about earlier. So talking about the general fund, the major difference is the fund balance. We did recoup some funds over the last 2 years. We recouped about 2.5 in fiscal year 23, just from increased revenues, reduced expenditures, and then a slight accounting modification that Ms. Valdez mentioned last meeting. In 24, we're projecting, which the year hasn't ended yet, we've got a few more weeks left. We're projecting a surplus of about 2.2, which is a revenue increase of about 400,000 and a reduction of about 1.8 in expenditures. 1.8 is a very large number in expenditures. Most of that is coming from the positions that we held vacant all year long due to various reasons. So that would not be something I would project again for next year, but we did have quite a bit of savings this year projecting. So moving on to the general fund specifically, we're proposing, this is the proposed budget as presented. We're going to get into Mr. Northcraft's recommended measures in just a minute. But as it sits right now, fund balance of 12.9, proposed revenues of 13.7, proposed expenditures of 16.4, which is an ending fund balance of 10.2, roughly a deficit of about 2.7 million. So Mr. Northcraft is recommending these proposed measures be implemented to shore up that deficit of 2.7. He would like to, if you approve it and recommend it so, propose increased revenues due to the local sales tax option passing. That would be prorated for the year, so roughly about $1 million there. Later tonight, we have master user fees coming to you. We would like to propose those increased revenues for the master user fee schedule. And then an overall just reduction in expenditures due to natural savings to shore up the about 1.86 billion of that deficit, which would leave you with $890,000 in a deficit if you implemented all these measures. Okay. So what that would roughly look like with the measures is you'd be looking at adopting a budget with about 15.2 in revenues, about 16.1 in expenditures, which would leave you, if you combine the savings projected for this year with the $890,000 deficit, an overall savings of about $942,000 in the 2 years combined. His logic is if you didn't spend it this year, you saved it to use this next year. So this is the general chart. This is not reflected of the proposed measures. So this would be what would be in your book right now. You can see taxes are going up a little bit. Fees and licenses about the same. Permits took a dip because 1 year we did get a lot in from the permits at the end of the year. The major one you're going to want to point out is the transfers, and that's because the ARPA transfer went away. So that's your major dip there. And then the rest kind of just stay status quo. So this is just another snapshot of the expenditures by category. You can kind of see that personnel take up about 70% of our expenditures. Cost allocation, and that's the indirect allocation. Those are the funds that we get from the other enterprise funds to offset by the work done performed by the employees in the general fund. And so those are your 2 major categories there. Let's see. The Plan B requests, these were just ideas that if the city did have adequate funding and we weren't constantly trying to battle a deficit, what would be some ideas of how we could improve things for the citizens and just the overall city. So these are just rough ideas. Nothing is set in stone, but we just wanted to give the public some idea of some of the things that could be improved upon if we had additional funding. Things like additional bodies, additional studies, better vehicles, just not increases, but improvements to the current existing buildings, things like that. They total about 2.5 million from just what we came up with. So going into that was it for the general fund. We're gonna go into the other funds, the special funds, the enterprise funds. We have the water, wastewater, refuse, and then fleet. So these are just projections for the current year. A lot of the times we will project them coming in at a negative fund balance, and if they don't quite hit it, it's because capital improvement projects didn't quite come to completion, or maybe they were underspent that year, things like that. So if there's differences from what was adopted to what was actually projected, usually it can be found in the capital improvement projects. So talking about the water fund, this would be the proposed budget for next year. You would have a beginning fund balance of roughly 12 million, proposed revenues of about 11.6, proposed expenditures of about 12.1, with an ending fund balance of about 11.5, which is a deficit of about 503. Now, a large part of your expenditures for next year do include the TTHM project. So moving into you're going to want to find wastewater. There you go. The wastewater fund. So this is wastewater and storm drain. Beginning fund balance would be about 9.1. Proposed revenues are about 4.2. Proposed expenditures of about 9.5, which would be an ending fund balance of about 3.9, which is a difference of about 5.2 in the deficit. This is largely due to capital expenditures. We have a lot of infrastructure that we need to update in the wastewater fund. So a lot of these are capital improvement projects. Next up is refuse fund. They are a little bit more even balanced here. We have a proposed revenue proposed fund balance of about 3 million, revenues of about 5, expenditures of about 5. So ending fund balance still sitting right at that $3 million mark. And that is primarily because we did order 2 trucks this year. One of them came in, so one of them got moved to next year. So that is what the original refuse study was designed to do, was to replace 1 truck per year. So it's working as intended. Next up is the fleet. The fleet is a little different because it is not an enterprise fund. It is an internal service fund. So basically it operates like its own little business within the city. Basically everything that you spend out, you should be recouping from the services you provided for those other departments and their vehicles. So there's been a long history of some accounting issues with this fund, so we're working to rectify those, but they are starting out with a negative fund balance of 588,000, proposed revenues of about 1.3, which is basically just the money you're recuperating from those other departments using those services. Proposed expenditures of about 1.3, so they should end a little bit less in the hole than where they began, which is about negative $550,000. So the one slide that we didn't touch on last time would be our current grants in progress. We do have quite a few that staff have been trying to be awarded and to properly spend. So we just have a couple. I don't know if Frank wants to get up and touch on his, but we have the IIG grant for some road construction. We have a task force grant, Cal Recycles. The ones with the asterisks are still in the application process. They have not been awarded, so those are still pending. But yeah, I don't know, Frank, did you want to touch on any of these grants? I will say there was a typo. CMAQ should be sidewalk at 19th, not 19th and a half.
Yes, so that CMAQ is we have received the grant for the engineering portion of it. So we're gonna put together plans and then apply for the construction cost. I think we're thinking the overall project cost is about $900,000. And that is to complete sidewalk from the end of the sports complex across the railroad tracks and intersect D Street. HSIP, that's already been awarded. We're just waiting for the contractor to get all the parts. I think all the parts are in, so we should begin a schedule from him and then start that project probably the next 2 weeks or so. And that's the pedestrian crossing at the intersection of Fox and Bush from north to south, that intersection. DSIP, that was submitted yesterday. So that is a grant for $10,900,000, and that's adding about 10,000 feet of sewer line, a new lift station, And then just some miscellaneous upgrades that are needed for increasing pipe sizes. And that's basically to get a sewer system out to the Lacey Ranch development over on Lacey and Lemoore Avenue. We just submitted just last week, we rushed in to Representative Fong's office. That's an earmarked federal fund project. That's for hopefully to get those 3 roundabouts paid for. If we receive that, that would be about that's be a $1.5 million grant if we can receive that. So I think that's pretty much all the ones that I have and updates on. Any questions?
None from,
Nope.
any questions?
That was it for my slideshow.
I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing now. Are there any questions from council? No? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up to the public for any public comment.
We're just gonna continue it and then you can have public comment at. Well, you could do it now too. You can do it twice.
We'll go ahead and open it for public comment. Is there any online? Okay, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and continue the public hearing for this item to June 26th at 5:30 p.m. So there'll be no action taken this evening. Do I need to get a vote on that? No? Okay. So we'll go ahead and continue to continued business. 6-1, approval of second reading and adoption of ordinance 2024-01, amending zoning text number 2024-01, modifying sections 9(5)(b)(5), fences and walls, 9(5)(e)(5), design and development standards for off-street parking areas, 9(5)(d)(1), 4, tree preservation, 9(4)(b)(2), allowed uses and required entitlements for base zoning districts, 9(5)(f)(5), standards for permanent on-site signs, and table 932, zoning districts, and add sections 9(4)(d)(21), tattoo parlors, and 9(4)(d)(22), personal storage facilities to the City of Lemoore zoning ordinance. Mr. Brandt, do I have you to thank for all of those words and numbers?
Yes, second time. Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Steve Brandt, City Planner. Good evening, Mayor and council members. This is the second reading of these ordinance changes. The first reading was held on June 4th. And at that meeting, after holding a public hearing, the council approved the first reading with one change that has been incorporated into this second reading, which I'll get to when I get to that spot. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because we've seen it before. One of the changes is the front yard fences for single family homes. The current code has a maximum height of 3.5 feet. This would change it to 4 feet. That would be more in line with the types of fences you can buy at the store. They come in 4-foot heights, usually the pickets and the chain link fences. And so that shows the actual change there. The second one deals with, there's been some residences that have asked for a second driveway in their front yard and so currently that's not allowed. What we proposed and the Planning Commission recommended was to allow a second driveway if there was a space in the side yard that would allow a vehicle to park or to get to the backyard. So we're saying if there's at least 10 feet between the property line and the house, then we would allow them to put in a second driveway. And there is a requirement, though, that if they do that, they need to actually also put in a drive approach instead of just drive over the sidewalk and over the curb. So the change that was made at the first reading was the staff and the Planning Commission had proposed that people would not be allowed to park on that second driveway, that it would only be used for access, and the council chose to delete that clause, and so that's been deleted from this ordinance, second reading. There's an example of what one would look like, where you've got a second driveway and there's room on the side to get back there and to park in the back. The next change is with the heritage tree ordinance. Currently, there were 6 types of trees that were protected. We're changing that to only protect the valley oak tree. And so a valley oak trees that would have a trunk of at least 12 inches in diameter would be protected and would need to get a permit if before they could be taken down. The next topic deals with tattoo parlors. Currently, you'd need a conditional use permit from the planning commission to open a tattoo parlor. The change would make them allowed uses in the DMX1, DMX2, neighborhood commercial and regional commercial zones. But at the same time, we added special standards that they would need to follow. So it's just, so instead of, because what we were finding is the planning commission would issue a conditional use permit and they'd always be having the same conditions. So we might as well just put the conditions in the ordinance and then they can bypass having to go to planning commission. The next one deals with mini storages in residential zones. We had some interest of having some smaller mini storages in residential zones. We've come up with some standards that would make that compatible. There's a size limitation if you're in a residential zone that a limitation you would not have if you were doing the mini storage in the industrial zones. So there's some standards for that as well. And there's some examples of the standards. One of them again is you can have RV storage, but it needs to be fully paved and screened from view of the residences. The next thing deals with monument signs. That sign there is 4 feet tall. Many other cities are allowing monument signs to be taller. So we are changing this so that they could be 6 feet tall in an office zone, 12 feet in the neighborhood commercial zone, and 16 feet in the regional commercial zone. And then related to highway oriented signs, we've adjusted the code to be more in line with some cities. We looked at the codes in Tulare and Fresno and Merced, which have a lot more experience dealing with highway signs because of the Highway 99. And so we feel like we came up with an ordinance that allows people to have the taller highway oriented signs. Maverick, you'll see that one going up fairly soon. We're doing a building permit for that, and that one conforms to this new code. Is that it? I think that's it. The final one is just a cleanup of some ordinance. There were some changes we made last fall, and we didn't make those same changes in another part of the ordinance. So it's just a cleanup. So that's what we have for you.
Is there any questions from council? Are there any questions or comments from the public?
Tom Reed, Bar Avenue, Lemoore. I just have one question about the monument signs going from 4 foot to 6 foot. If you have one that's very near the corner, that could be a problem with vision of when you're coming up the intersection and looking to the right or the left. Have you considered that? Thanks.
Yes, we do. We do have standards. You have to be set back. There's a corner visibility standard that any object has to meet. You can't put anything inside that corner visibility area that's at the corner of an intersection. We also have requirements. The monument sign has to be set back a certain number of feet from driveways as well. So.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Okay, I'll bring it back to council.
Mr. Brandt, Mrs. Bailey, thank you guys for doing all this work. I know it was a lot. And I know you got a lot of
Feedback.
very feedback. And I just want to thank you guys for your work.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of all of these words. That was a motion?
Sure.
Is that what you said?
If that's an acceptable motion.
I didn't hear what you said.
Just as stated on the agenda. just so
Okay,
it's
yeah,
clear.
I motion to accept 6-1 as worded on the agenda. Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Lyons and a second by Councilmember Garza. Councilmember Lyons?
Yes.
Councilmember Garza?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Thank
Passes 3 in favor. Item 6-2, approval of second reading and adoption of ordinance 2024-02, amending the Lemoore Municipal Code to modify Title 4, Public Health and Safety, Chapter 4, Property Maintenance, and Title 6, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 3, Rules of the Road, and the Lemoore Municipal Code. Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Yes, so these codes are a similar change to what you just approved in 6-1. It's just being done in a different part of the municipal code instead of the zoning ordinance. So it's the same requirements that about when you can have a driveway and that you have to put in a drive approach and get an approach permit to do so.
Any questions from council? Go ahead and open it up to the public. Any questions or comments from the public? Going to bring it back to council.
I'd like to motion to move to approve the second reading of the adoption of ordinance number 2024-02, approving zoning text amendment number 2024-02.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second that.
I have a motion by Councilmember Lyons and a
Yes.
second by Councilmember Garza.
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons?
Yes.
Councilmember Garza?
Yes.
And I vote yes. You
Thank
guys are
you.
just in a hurry tonight. So that passes 3-0. New business. 7-1, approval of resolution 2024-22, revising and updating the master user fee schedule. Mr. Reader.
All right, so we were looking at our resolution for the master user fee schedule. And what I've handed out to you is an example of what the increases will look like. So we've recommended changing the resolution, updating the master fee schedule to concurrently increase based on the CPI from the last year it was done. For example, we implemented this master fee schedule in November of 2020 with an effective date of January 2021. We have not increased it by the CPI as it is stated in the resolution since. The CPI language can get a little confusing, so we wanted to make it more straightforward that every year after we're able to use that CPI to increase the master user fee schedule. And that's no new fees are being added. This is just an example. So we're just looking for a change in the resolution wording.
I don't know how the rest of council feels, but having just got this, I would like to take a little bit more time on it, if that's okay, if we can continue this item.
So is there a specific question you have? Because the numbers you're looking at are just kind of examples. They're not real clean. It's just for me to kind of show you what it would look like.
Mhm.
What we're bringing is the ability to increase based on CPI from 2020 or from years past. So we're looking at a change in wording, not quite a change in amounts. That's just more of an example of what it would look like, but absolutely.
Well, you have existing and proposed. Are you not proposing these numbers?
So the proposed would be with the acceptance of the resolution. So basically what we've done is there is a 6% CPI in 22, 23, and then a 2.5 increase from 24. So we're taking 6%, 6%, 2.5. I know most of you are thinking just take 14.5, but we don't do it that way. It's because it's not a straight 14.5. So they proposed, that's just the language that we've always used. I didn't know what else to put up there. But the proposed is just what it would change to with the acceptance of the resolution. But like I said, no new fees are being added. We're not doing a rate study. It's just based on the CPI increase. We're mostly just changing the language in the resolution to be a little more clear because it wasn't super clear in 2020 when we pushed it through.
Still not exactly clear. But I understand what you're driving at.
So are you in agreement to table this then? Sounds like? Or no?
No. I agree with you both.
Of course you do.
So is there anything specific? Are you just wanting to review the numbers or is there anything specific that you're questioning?
You know me, I want to review the numbers.
Okay.
That's just me. I mean, I know you're saying that this is just a
So,
resolution,
and the
but
other part of this is with the acceptance of the resolution, it doesn't immediately put these into place. So we still have to go in and increase it. So if there's something with the resolution you don't like, we can always bring that back and reword the wording. Fees don't go into place once you accept today. If you accepted today of the resolution wording, it goes into effect when probably when Kevin gets back and actually wants to implement that. But if there's something in particular you want to see afterwards, we can always make changes too.
So Patricia, maybe this will help you. This resolution, the way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, which is highly possible. We're not changing the fees. We're changing the scheduling of the fees.
correct,
The numbers aren't going to change. They're already there.
right.
We're just changing.
We're just increasing by CPI.
I understand that. And I'm sorry if I feel like I'm being difficult. That's not my
No,
intention.
you're fine. I just want to make sure that we kind of, if there's other concerns other than just you wanting to see the numbers, that we kind of hit those. But if that's all you have, then that's fine.
Well, we can't pass it with a 2-0 vote anyway, so
You're
might as
not
well
wrong.
table it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would this be something that you guys would want to bring back to the 26th, or would you want to bring it back to the next regularly scheduled meeting? Is there a rush on this?
Um,
That was my question. That sounds like a yes.
We
it
can
was,
bring it back on the 26th if
yeah,
that works.
that's perfectly fine. Whatever council's direction is, absolutely.
I'd be comfortable with that.
Would it have been easier if I wouldn't have given examples?
Yeah.
No, because I'm gonna want to see it.
I'm just joking. Yeah, we can table it to the 26th.
I apologize, but
That's fine. I didn't plan on coming to that meeting, but I'll come to it.
well, that's why I'm tabling it, to make sure you're here.
Can't
I'm
wait to
kidding.
see you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then we'll move on to item 8, city council reports and requests. Councilmember Garza,
None tonight.
Councilmember Lyons.
No, I don't have any tonight. Wait, I would like to, what? Our Westlands Water District Scholarship results. Daisy.
Daisy.
I'd like to thank Daisy for being here and congratulate her one last time. What was the other one's name again? You told us.
Jason McDonald.
And Jason. Yeah, I'd just like to congratulate them.
Thank you,
That's
sir. For me, I did attend the Parks and Rec Commission meeting that they just had. It was a very it was a good meeting. I also attended the town hall that the interim city manager and police chief held, which had good attendance and great conversation. The Kings County Commission on Aging held their elder abuse awareness event last Friday, and it was very well attended. I believe it was their 3rd annual, so that seems to keep growing. I also attended the Kings County Homeless Collaborative yesterday afternoon. So they're continuing to work on their annual report. So that should be presented to the Board of Supervisors next month. And then hopefully I can have that information available, or maybe we can link to that information on our website. I did attend the Board of Supervisors meeting this morning. It was held in their new chambers, their newly remodeled chambers, which is, it looks really nice in there. If you haven't gone by there, I encourage you to go by and check out a meeting there. The chairs are very comfy and they don't squeak. anymore, and you can sit in any of them. There's not ones that are broke. So that's good. They went over their budget today and will be continuing their budget talks in August. I believe it's August 26th is when they're going to have the next budget meeting. I just wanted to put it out there that there is a candidate information forum night tomorrow night at the county multipurpose room. It starts at 6 p.m. for anybody interested in running for either, I think there's some Office of Education seats, and then we also have 3 council seats that are up this year. Not tomorrow, I'm sorry, Thursday, the South Fort Kings GSA will be meeting here in these chambers at 5:30. There's a lot going on with the GSA and Sigma. So if anybody wants to get involved in that or educate yourselves on what's going on in our GSA, we are currently on probation with the surrounding GSAs, the first ones in California. So if you want to get information on that, I suggest that you go there. It's a lot of information, but it's good information. Also wanted to just mention that the Fleet Reserve on Thursday night has their bike night. And Saturday, there'll be an event starting in Corcoran. It's called the 22 a day ride. It's going to start in Corcoran, go to Kingsburg, another location, and then end in Visalia. They're going to have about 300 riders on that ride, but the public's welcome to attend the event in Corcoran. It starts at 10 a.m. So if you want to be there to see them off and to also get a brief presentation on the 5 pillars of freedom that are there at that new park, they'll have that at 10 a.m. this Saturday. So with that, we will go ahead and go into closed session. We have item 1, Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Appointment, Employment, Title City Manager. Item 2, Government Code Section 54956.9, Conference with Legal Counsel, Anticipated Litigation, Significant Exposure to Litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3, subdivision D of Section 54956.9, one case. Thank you.